to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Caraba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID sort of.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola sota Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Hello and welcome. This is the Brunch on Kerfatu Live. I am Lamin Chan. This week we will take you back as usual on the major stories of the week. And straight away we will go to the Gambia Government Joint Press Conference held Wednesday at the Sadauda Jawara Conference Center, where the government officials dealt with land issues. They also dealt with license to GSM companies to operate televisions and radios, and also the protracted problem between the Cement Importers Association and some, well, in quotes, homed factories operating in that sector. Of course, also is March Day today. The Gambia will play Seychelles Islands in Morocco in our Africa Zone World Cup qualifiers for 2026. And remember, it's a new era in Gambian football with new coach Jonathan McKinstry. So that is perhaps we'll have a word or two about that towards the end of the program. First, though, we tackle the protracted issue that is between the Cement Importers Association and factories in the Gambia who are also operating in the sector. Last week, the Minister of Regional Government and Lands, Mr. Hamad Ba, during his deliberations, touched on the issue. And it is like this. The association felt that the Gambia government is protecting factories who call themselves, according to them, cement factories, when actually they are not cement factories, and they too allegedly import cement from Senegal. A whole lot of trucks are lined up at the border, refusing to pay the government's new levy, $180 per bag. But today, Saturday, the government has come with a press release to say that they will allow temporary the blockage to go. That is, the trucks that are on the border now will cross and won't have to pay the $180 per bag. But they said this measure is just temporary, and they have not changed their policy of imposing $180 on each bag that crosses from the border. Well, with me in the studio is Sheikh Cham, who comes from the Importers Association. He will take our questions and clarified our position on that matter. I also have Sait Matty from the Civic Society, who will follow everything, and as well as Demba Ali Jawo, journalist, who have been following also events. And in fact, he had a personal bone to pick with the Minister of Lands when he was talking about licensing being given to GSM companies. Well, Mr. Jawo fittingly replied that, and we don't want to make it a personal, but it's among the topics that we will discuss from the minister's deliberations. So stay put and follow us now. Let's go straight to Mr. Sheikh Cham. Mr. Cham, well, I don't know whether to start by congratulating you. You must really be very happy that the government has just announced that they are going to allow all those trucks that you have across the border, that have been piling there, they will allow them to come now. But then they said this is just temporary. So this is both a mixture of bad and good news for you. But let's hear from you. Why are you people not keen on paying this 180 per bag tax? And why do you think that government is protecting companies like Jawo, etc., etc.?
Yeah, greetings, Mr. Cham. and the viewers. I'm representing the Cement Importers and Traders Association. We are saying a big thank you to the government for taking the first step in the right direction. But that's just one step in the right direction, because we have a lot of stock in Senegal and a lot of guarantee at the factory, because getting cement from Senegal, we're getting it cheaper than the Senegalese people themselves, because we are not paying tax in Senegal. And everybody knows that the tax rate in Senegal is higher compared to Gambia. A typical example of that is looking at VAT, that the Senegalese people call TVA. So they are paying 18%, we are paying 15% in this country. Yeah, and so we pay guarantees before we buy this cement. And then there are procedures we have to follow. There should be a transit fee, so that they prepare the transit papers to make sure that this cement, we don't sell it in Senegal because it's very cheap. You are not taxed in Senegal, so there are specific routes you should follow. If you deviate from that route, they will know you are trying to do fraud. So we come to the border and we bring this cement to this country, to the Gambia, to sell it. So right now we have our right now they are releasing the blockage, but it's just to release those trucks at the border. But the actual issue is we the Gambians doing this trade, we have a lot of our wealth in Senegal that is currently stocked there, and we couldn't get access to.
So you are trying to say that those at the border now are just part of a larger consignment you have imported and have not yet transported to the border?
Yeah, because when you are buying cement at the factory, the minimum order quantity is 500 tons, which is equivalent to 10,000 bags.
So you have more cement there.
We have more cement there than
which you bought already,
and our guarantee as well.
And guaranteed already.
Yeah, and our guarantee that we pay is like a tax guarantee. You pay
perfectly.
So that if you deviate,
yeah, that's right,
they will use that money for the penalty.
Okay, so you have a guarantee. So that means this temporary removal of the blockage, which is covering only those trucks currently at the border, is just a tip of the iceberg. You have a whole lot of baggage coming.
Exactly.
So why do you think they come to this decision? Because only a few days ago they were saying no, they were never going to go back.
Yeah, on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, the Minister of Trade told us over his dead body.
The Minister of Trade?
Of Trade said over his dead body.
Babukar Ismail, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Ismail or whatever.
Over his dead body, he will not release.
He said over his dead body.
Over his dead body. So to invite us yesterday on Friday, because on Tuesday, Wednesday also we had a meeting, but that one they brought Jar Oil to the table and they told us to work with Jar Oil. We are confused. We have problems to address right now. Our trucks, our stocks.
Even they called a meeting between your association and the factory and Jar Oil.
And the backing importers.
Whatever you call it, but Jar Oil.
Yeah.
But that would have been. Many people would think that would be a good move, so that you can now see eye to eye and see.
Yeah, but Jar Oil, we are all importers.
Okay.
Jar Oil is a registered company. All of us, before you buy cement from Senegal, you have to register as a company before you can import cement. So over 116 Gambians who have registered their business bought a lot of trucks to bring cement from Senegal. So for you to bring us on a table and tell us we have to we have to try and work with Jar Oil, and now instead of buying cement from the manufacturers, we buy it from people who import it from Senegal and buy it from them and also distribute it again. We don't understand, and because we know those people cannot meet our demand. Jar Oil is producing 10,000 bags per day.
Jar Oil said they have enough capacity to, in their own words, inundate, flood the market cement. That's what they said.
Yeah, but that's what they said. Jar Oil has been out of business for 2 years during the Corona period, and we were supplying the whole country with cement, and there was no shortage. And furthermore, looking at when they stop our trucks at the borders on Wednesday, before the following Wednesday, on Monday, Jar Oil, the 20th of May, he was in Senegal to get cement because his cement in the Gambia is currently finished. So he went to Senegal to get cement, and then he came and met us back at the border. We didn't see him paying. We saw his trucks come and walk right and drive right into the country, and they go to their factories to put it in bags and just go. And we don't understand. We asked customs what is happening, but they declined to comment.
Okay, now let's come back to the issue. Government now said these trucks currently on the border can go.
Yeah.
That is, you're not paying You won in some respect.
Yeah.
You won in that area, but you said you still have a whole lot of
We have
remnants of what you have ordered and guarantees.
Yeah.
So and you still want that to be cleared first before any concession will come.
Yeah.
So,
You know, anything you do, there should be a transition.
okay.
Even if something like this must be done, but there was no transition period that was given to us for us to redirect ourselves.
Okay. All right.
So, and the government ministry didn't communicate anything to us. We just come to the border on Wednesday, and the customs said, we received this directive, you should pay this amount.
I see.
Nothing was communicated to us. We didn't see any press release from any of the media outlets or on any platform.
I see. So the new tax was imposed,
And from
promptly, no consultations.
no consultation. And we have invested a lot in this. And the first thing they do, they try to put it in this way. They tell the people these are not Gambians, so that the people would not side.
Okay, yeah, let's go. Before you go there, Jawo and said, we had the Honorable Minister said most of the people involved in this cross-border cement trade are foreigners. How true is that?
The first day I saw that on this media platforms, I was laughing because 116 members. I have not seen a single 116 members. There is no foreigner among us.
There is not even a single foreigner.
You have seen our interviews and all our everythings and our press conferences. You have not seen.
Nobody speaks like a Senegalese.
Exactly. and what is more interesting now, Gambians are now working. Gambians are investing in their own countries, operating, doing business in their own. So this, most of even our members now are young people in their 30s.
Like you.
I'm a typical example.
And you are not even close to Senegalese or Guinean. we both had a minister. He said in the first place, all these people, most of them. He said most of them are foreigners.
That is what they have. They're trying to divide us so that they can at least spread their agenda. Because looking at it, one thing they are not doing, they are not being fair to the public. Because it's their civic right to build and to get access to cement anytime that they want, and there should be competition in the market so that people can get competitive price for this product. Because you have seen it within 1 week, the price skyrocketed from 375, 385. Now is in the combos here. Most people are selling it for 450. Some are selling it up to 500. You go to places like Bassa, there is no cement. Even Bara here, there is no cement. Because we are struggling to get cement here. How can you get cement from Birikama here and struggle to take it up to Farafenya, then go back to Bara? How much are you going to sell it for?
So in other words, what you're saying is that without this cross-border thing, the claim that the factories, you always say they are not factories, the claim by Jawo Oil and others that they can definitely meet the demand in this country, you are thinking it's not possible because already because of the blockage, cement is getting to be scarce. Is that your position?
You know, the government should do an independent research to know what the Gambians, how the Gambians consume cement, the amount they are consuming. If you go to if you look at what Jawo Oil is producing a day, or 10,000 bags, Gasem 5,000 bags, Salam 5,000, that is 20,000 bags. We have some of our members with 50 trucks. So what means if there are 20 trucks load, the other 30 trucks will be standing for how many days to get cement? And all of us bringing in cement from Senegal, we don't have a warehouse. We can't distribute this cement and go back to Senegal. So the minimum each truck is doing, the minimum trip each truck is doing a week is 2 trips. And we Gambians, we have more trucks than them. We have over 500 trucks looking at it. And these 500 trucks each is doing 2 trips in a week, minimum. And you will not look at all our members. No, you will not see any warehouse in this country where we are packing in cement. That's why when they stop us at the border, less than 7 days scarcity of cement.
Okay, now let me have Sait Matty Jawo. Well, we talk about the government's argument. This people's argument is that government is protecting Jawo Oil, and they said Jawo Oil has we used to call it certificate of what when
special investment.
It used to be called certificate or whatever, which we know allows them to bring in things and later pay, or I don't know, whatever that means. Okay, they said Jawo Oil only back and it cannot be categorized as a factory. Now they are saying that government is protecting Jawo Oil because Jawo Oil want their business to die so that they can have a monopoly. These are the 2 points of argument. The government is saying, no, we are protecting our industries. Because if you want to import anything here from export anything from the Gambia to Senegal, you will have a problem. Protectionism is much more prominent and much more entrenched in Senegal than the Gambia. So these are the two things. But this will I said, well, even if you have to protect them on a fair basis. Don't kill others and then allow this to operate. So in between, gentlemen, what do you think? And welcome, Mr. Jello. That's the first topic. We'll go into other details like land and other things covered in the government press conference.
Thank you. I mean, I've been listening to him and I've been following the debate as well, and I think it's really interesting, and it's good also that today we're having this conversation about protectionism or not, because historically Gambia had this kind of free market environment where where people importing, but also we made quite a lot of money in terms of those kind of transit trade, where even Mali, with the expansion of the port, historically we have seen that. But for me, the importers, the manufacturers, these are business people. And usually for me, I want to look at also from the people and citizens perspective. And this is also where the government needs to come in terms of that. And I think for me, what I'm seeing is that both sides are trying to outdo the other, thinking that the other one, because for you are buying and then you redistribute it. The other ones, they are buying, they come, they repackage, they buy cash power, they buy all those different elements, and they put. So government at the end of the day will try to see, what is going to make more interest or better profit for the people, and they will look at it in terms of that. And for me, I'm seeing it in this sense that they're looking at it from that perspective. But then the other question that he has raised also is the capacity of these companies. I mean, for me, I call them manufacturers. For them is for again
that is like
whether it's packaging, bottled water. You see, water is everywhere here, but they just put it in the bottle and then they sell it again. But it's a value-added process. I mean, for him in his explanation, they were talking about they get the trucks, they redistribute it, they go back to Senegal. But these guys, they just don't do that. They just bring it back. They have people that are working in the factory. They have to buy cash power like everybody else. So there are other expenses that these guys are also doing that need to be factored in terms of the cost. For me, what I think.
But
also,
you are concerned about the capacity to meet the demand.
No, I'm saying like there is so for basically me, my opinion is, I want all of them. I want Gambians, whether you're engaging and how you're engaging, to make a living, to make ends meet, so that at the end of the day, if they make money too, it's coming to the country. But now a government needs to decide, how or what is best for them, because you're looking at it from only cement, that they're only bringing cement. But if these people are bringing cement, for us also, we are also buying other things in Senegal. So what is the relationship between the Dalasi and the vegetables, even though I'm not an economist,
vegetables and all
the vegetables and all that. So at some point you see that the CFA will increase, and so there's all those elements.
So what do you make of the argument that even though there might be manufacturers or factories in codes, what will happen if they don't produce enough to meet the demand?
Well, now that is the responsibility of the government. So for me, because people will want services, and if government is confident that now these people can produce as enough, and that they have to protect the market for those people, and those people cannot deliver, then it is their responsibility. But the issue with government is that government is flexible in a way. Today they can, like onions. At one point they had that, it was, I think it
they
was
had a threshold.
There was a ban. They opened it.
Import.
So based on what the context, what the realities are, government can always change its mind. Government is not like everything is written on stone. They have to be flexible and look at all these things and see how they can navigate through it. But for me, the issue is, I don't think what I'm seeing from both sides, the manufacturers and the importers, is that they're trying to elbow each other out in the conversation. And one will say, oh, this one cannot produce this one. They say, oh, these ones are not paying tax. But at the end of the day, what would be the benefit of us, the individual consumers and all that?
How do you see the government handling it? How do you see
for me, the government is also a business. The government wants to do business. The government has to think about its own business aspect. And in this sense, they are looking at the companies, thinking that the companies are doing better compared to what they are importing. So they have to make that decision. And government at one point will have to make a decision. And so they decide to make this, it's affecting them. But I also think like they need to, it's not just like what he said. For me, I don't like those approaches. just come up abruptly, just say, well, this is the, I mean, that's not the rule. That's not one, that's not transparent. Secondly, you already know that they've registered business. So if you want to change a policy, I also agree that, like what he said, you need to discuss those issues. But like, but there's, transition. You get to the transition so that they can also plan. Like, for instance, now they have guarantors, they have other monies that they spend. How they're going to get that, for me, is also a question that I want to push the government to see how they're going to address that, because this is also Gambian money that is spent somewhere.
And the fact that they are non-Gambians, most of them are foreigners.
So for me, government will make its statement, and these are the association. For me here, I will listen to the association, and I will take what the association have to say in terms of who their members are, and of course for you journalists to maybe perhaps do further investigation to see
so far what we have.
But so far I had
all the people who are talking are Gambians. Whether they have Senegalese and Guineans behind them,
I have not. For me, in terms of, because even if there are others, this is a company.
That's right.
This is like we're talking about free movement, but the reality is also, if you look at Gambia, Senegal in terms of trade, you know that there is no fair deal when it comes to the trade relations.
Protectionism is definitely more in Senegal, of course, than the Gambia.
Of course. So at some point, you need to balance that, and you cannot. But for me, what I want,
what we have seen is that until now, and even now, the government is reluctant to return fire for fire when it comes to protecting. No, but Senegal blocked everything. There were quarrels about transportation, even this public transport system. The Senegalese union will say this, and the government say, oh no, this is a matter of union, we cannot get involved. And then they will get everything they want from Gambia.
The simple thing is this: as a country, you are a sovereign country. You make your own decision. You make the decisions that benefit your own people. Yes, Senegal is there. They have their own things to worry. So for us as a country also, we have things to worry. We have about our welfare and things that we worry. If we do business that benefit all of us, we should do that. We should encourage those kind of businesses. But one person benefiting and others, and I think they're within the Gambian context, and that's why maybe they are using this. These are foreigners, because
but you see,
sentimentally,
the irony is this. See, the Gambian government will always want Gambians to support them. When it comes to Gambia's interests, they will say even the media should support us, because when you go to Senegal, Senegalese media, listen, the Senegalese media will not go against the Senegal people's interest. But it's not only this threat. There were other things there that people criticize and said, government, look, you have to show sovereignty over this matter. But they are the ones who will. What happened the last time when the Minister of Defense went to the Parliament? He said that look, we have engaged our Senegalese. We told them that, you cannot come over here, and, we have to protect. When that was reported, the minister said, no, we didn't say this, we didn't say this. So it's not only about this. If you
see, me, I believe that a government must represent the interests of its people. It's as simple as that. But the interest of the people is diverse. Today, there are those that want to establish factories, it's in the interest of the people. These guys also what they are doing, because they're also doing it in the interest of the people. So for me, the government needs to protect that. But at the end of the day, the government must balance and weigh all this different stuff. But then the current debate, we cannot just remove, the question of sovereignty has to come in, because it's also about we having our own companies. That are also trying to do that, whether we call them manufacturer, whatever it is. They are before I move to clarification. So for me,
I want to clear something.
Okay.
So I have some few points to clear based on what he's based on the concerns that he raised. We need to look at where all our competitors start from. They were all buying bags from cement from Senegal. That's where they all start from, and they are still buying cement from Senegal. They also started as a small scale business like us. And then they said the reason why they went into put it into bagging, because when you are buying it in bulk to put it into bag is cheaper. That favors the company's interest in one area because of the profitability. But when, from there you look at the tax perspective. What is the Gambia losing? The interest of the government. Because when you look at these trucks coming in, each truck is paying 30,000. So how many trucks are coming in every week? These people, the other side, they have a special investment certificate. The tax we are paying, most of those taxes waived for them. They are not paying it. they are not paying. So which means the Gambia on that area, the Gambia is losing a lot of money when it comes to tax. When it comes to
can I clarify that? Because now the manufacturers, it's not only the tax that their investment is not only tax.
I'm coming.
You're forgetting electricity.
No, I'm coming. Because I'm tackling a few points.
Maybe the jobs they provide.
Because those are other issues that we need to hear as well.
Okay, and then we come to, if there is no competition in the market, the citizens will suffer for the price, because the price they will pay for to get cement, it will be better. Because if the demand is too high and the supply is very low, the price will go up. And those we have seen we are currently facing that right now. When it comes to what these companies are facing, every business that is registered has overheads. Whether you sell or you don't sell, you would pay rent. Our staffs are salaried, so whether we sell or we don't sell, we will still pay them. Our premises, we all use light, so it depends on the magnitude of your company. The bigger the company, the bigger the overheads. And furthermore, we are not financed. We are not financed. We don't have loan or certain things from them. So the reason why you were saying they spend is that they give them more loan.
No. Wait, you see, no, can I clarify this? Because I'm not here to, for you or the manufacturer. For me, I am more interested in what comes to the citizen. Yeah. But you're making some argument, like in terms, because you from your explanation, that's why I was saying that these people have overhead. Because you told us like your trucks, come, redistribute, and then they go again.
Yeah, but
so for us, like,
you operate from also as well.
But you said you don't have like stations where you don't have warehouses.
The warehouses is where example. You have a lot of cement, but people are not buying all. So you put it there. You have to store it.
So depot. They don't have anytime depot.
People make
but they don't have a depot. Like he's saying that there's hardly
before he said that they don't have that. Now he's saying also that in terms of their employment, they have overhead. So I just need clarity in terms.
Let me give you an example. Some of our members, example today at Gimpex, are paying $13,000 for rent. They are paying $13,000
as well.
Example. Maybe some of them will not like.
Are those stores belonging to Americans where you charge in dollars?
And they tell you to pay in dollars.
In dollars?
In dollars. We have raised that with the ministry.
Gambian stores?
Yeah, we have raised that with the ministry. And the ministry said
they charge you with dollars.
Yeah, the ministry said and the next thing we are missing here is the general public. For the development of this country cannot develop without cement. And the price of cement should be reasonable enough that people can build. Even roads, you cannot make good roads without cement. We are saying it. The government is telling us we are stopping Senegalese cement. But this OIC road, which cement are they using? Is it not Sakosim cement from Senegal? Because they have the quality. Because when you talk about cement factory, it has to be where the quarry is. Because limestone is calcium carbonate.
You mean the OIC road contractors were not buying from Jawo?
They are not buying because there is no 42.5. If you want it, we order it for you. Like I have example. This stock is, they say we need 10,000 bucks. I order it for them, and because if you bring it, it's not the 42.5 is not applicable to all stages of building. You just need it for some certain areas, let's say foundations that are for very solid buildings. So not everybody buys that. Even in Senegal, what they're using is 32.5 for their constructions. So when people need 42.5, they make special orders for it. So we bring it. So now this cement also, the reason why Gambians are getting good quality cement from Senegal because the factories are located at the quarry. It is not ideal for you to transport the raw material from a distance and take it to where the manufacturing place. Then it's just like petrol, you lose quality. So because of that, even when they were building the FIFA stadium in South Africa, they are trying to make sure this cement that they are getting is well packaged in such a way they will get good quality from Senegal. So this cement we are getting is good quality cement. That's why even if the demand for our cement and our market share is higher. And also if the cement price, if the scarcity of the cement, if this thing is not, if the government is not allowing cement to come from Senegal, it will affect development and every building material. Because every building material
depends on cement.
Cement goes to at all stages of building, and we have seen it now. We are not the only one, because you feel a lot of people are suffering right now. The people selling sand are suffering, basalt. all these people, architects and because everything has come because of cement.
You know, this guy, last one. Yeah. You know, he's making cement like a human rights issue now.
Absolutely. I'm not going in the
you know, he's making it a human rights issue but it's also developmental. And he's talking about the government, because you think that the government does not know, you know, all these different things that you're talking about, that the lack of cement, the impact that it's gonna have, and that's why they are taking this decision. For me, you know, I think the argument, as much as it is good, it is still, you know, a business argument. I want to see more that is like an argument that will, you know, balance, and at the end of the day will factor the people that are also buying. But the manufacturer will say, these people are just importing. This one are saying, oh, these ones are not manufacturers. They are also importing like us. But at the end of the day, for me, the lesser the price for the people. How are we going to get that?
This new decision by government this morning to allow the trucks to come in, albeit temporary. Is it some capitulation on the side of the government, or they have been accommodative?
I mean, the government, for me, my understanding of government can always look at the picture. For me, that's why initially I wanted them to, you know, just don't rush. You cannot just rush this issue. Like, that's why there need to be that transition and all that. Otherwise, they could have avoided this whole mess. But at the end of the day, government can make a decision right now. Then they get a better information. I mean, they need to
change their mind. Dear, what's your take on this?
I mean, the debate is very, very interesting. Definitely, there are a lot of pros and cons in this debate. In the first place, I think there is an element of tit for tat, you know, between the Gambia and Senegal, because we know that Senegal is very good at protectionism, protecting their industries.
Exactly.
I mean, and in this case, the Gambia is trying also to hit back somehow, you know, by protecting the industries that we have here. Okay, you may call them factories or whatever you call them, but the very fact that they have, I mean, areas where they are actually getting the raw material and bagging the bags, it's a factory, you know. They are doing something. They are doing some kind of transformation of the product. That's one thing. And I think the government also, before they take such a drastic measure against the importers, they should have given them enough notice at least to be able to clear the backlog they have in Senegal. I think that would have been fair. You just don't get up one day and say this is it. I mean, you don't treat people like this. Whether you call them Gambians or non-Gambians, they are still operating in the Gambia, and they need to be treated fairly. And then there is also this element of, you know, free movement of goods and, you know, people and goods in ECOWAS. So importing Senegalese manufactured goods is definitely not against the ECOWAS protocol. It's, in fact, it should be encouraged, so that, you know, I mean, if Gambia is manufacturing anything, Senegal should also allow Gambian manufactured things to get into Senegal without any hindrance. But unfortunately, that's not happening. So, you know, I mean, it's a very interesting situation. But I think, I mean, there should be more discussion between the government and the, you know, the importers as well, and see how best they can become, I mean, able to come to an amicable solution on this matter.
And what is the interest of we the consumers in the streets between these protagonists? You know.
Well, I mean, I think the interest of the people, the consumers, is should be paramount, and each one of them, you know, whether it's the government or the importers or the manufacturers, they all should be looking at that. Of course, I mean, in this case, it's business. You know, they are, I mean, more concerned about the profits they make than, you know, what the people, what benefits the people in general. But I think, you know, it shouldn't be. Government particularly should be very much concerned about, you know, the ordinary consumers here.
Yeah. Tello, you found us in the middle of this, but you followed all. What's your take on this since from the very beginning?
Yeah, some 2-3 days ago, I had the chance to ask some questions to the minister, although the Minister of Trade wasn't there, but the Information Minister was present. So, but Ahmad Bah, he's the one who responded. And you know how Ahmad Bah responds.
Oh.
So I think, though, there are different ways to look at it in my perspective, which is one, the notice period, which for me is very important. And I think that there are regulations and laws around gazetting increases. And I had actually had already the revenue increase for 2023, which was announced at the start of the year, the notice, the gazette, and it did not include cement. So I know ministers are there, they probably thought that, why is this guy asking those questions? But I have legitimate reasons for asking them whether the cement issue was gazetted. because of people have businesses, and these businesses affect wide number of stakeholders. Well, there was some, even if I could say, misinformation on their part, because they wanted to claim that there are no requirements for them to gazette. But eventually, towards the end, I don't know even if it showed, because it was at the end, it cut off, and I had the engagement with the information minister. He acknowledged, he agreed that indeed there are requirements to gazette, and was trying to say that they have fulfilled all the requirements. Whether that is true, I don't know. This gentleman here, whether they received all the appropriate notices, whether they monitor the gazette, is also another thing. So I don't want to push too much on that. So, but there are many aspects to this. Like he said, cement is very important in construction. I actually happen to study civil engineering, and I know a little bit about construction. But this is not more. It's not. There are some few things which I've heard from the government in their statement, which makes me draws concern. One is the government information minister, of course, on behalf of Motai, announcing that people should go to the factories to get their cement. That's not the way the business economy works. You cannot. It's almost as if the government was advertising for the cement, and then Gassem and Salam. I don't think that's done. So I think government should have been very careful with that. So the other thing is access to this. It's not just about getting cement from the factories. Not everybody can afford to go all the way to the factories to get the cement. That's overhead. That's more cost. What about those who are not so close to? What is the distribution capacity? You can have even the demand amount of cement, but do you have the capacity to move it to where it has to get to? Which is where those 500 trucks certainly come in. Okay, so that is where it's all these things that the Gambia government must consider in making their decision, in that it will have impact on the market price. They cannot say that the price is just gonna be 300 and whatever they've agreed with those gentlemen, and then forget that those cement bags have to move from the factories or so-called factories to the
the longer it moves,
exactly,
the longer the distance, the more the price.
And where I would just conclude is to say, right now, I know many Gambians are probably trying to patch up one or two destructions or maintenance here and there. Exactly. Rainy season is coming. This is not the right time. When you look at the World Bank talking about our GDP improved by 5.3%, one of the things which they highlight is construction. And we know infrastructural development has been a big amount that they have invested in the economy. So the impact of cement can definitely, harm the economy, I believe. I don't agree with the issue of Senegal, the way that they're operating. Don't get me wrong. And an element of me, the Gambian in me, wants to push back at that. I'm happy that the government is trying to push back. And I hear that they are going to meet with the trade minister for the Gambia. This is what was announced. The trade minister for the Gambia is going to meet up with the trade minister for Senegal to try to come to some amicable agreement about this. So, but there's the after, and people free trade, So how do we balance these two? So I hope that the Senegal government allows us to have the same, because I believe in, I'm not saying tit for tat, but it has to be a mutually beneficial agreement between us and our neighbors. That's the only sustainable way long term. So I feel a little bit more towards the importers in my perspective, and the reason being is I don't feel that they have been given sufficient notice to be able to clear their stock, so that if at all a problem like this came, then we can say, you were given enough notice. And then secondly, the tax of $180
What, from 18, is it? From
$30.
From $30.
That's intentionally.
That is a problem.
You're protecting us from $30. You want to give them $20 increase?
No, but
You're protecting you, make it difficult.
You're going to do it like gradually. You have to be gradual. There has to be measure. You have to have some element of balance. You cannot just come $180. Come on, that's
you said
that's for me. You are killing those businesses. But then, what businesses are you killing? You cannot come and be killing these guys' businesses.
Well, most of them are foreigners.
No, you see, this is
what the minister said,
misinformation that some of them they are saying. But we are the ones that are being accused of misinformation.
Well, we'll come to that. Well, Mr. Sham, we want to take leave of you now. What do you make of this recent announcement by the government that some of your trucks or those already on the border can come?
Yeah. What we want to do is to appeal to the government to look into their decision, because we believe the government is misinformed as to what is happening and what the amount of cement that people are consuming, and any increment on tax also affects the general public because they're paying for it, because the businessman always add margin to it, because no one will invest a huge amount in this business and come and sell at a loss. So in Gambia at this point in time, we are trying to at least compete with other countries in terms of development and certain things. So the government should really look into that and give us time, because even if they must implement this, there should be time for us to redirect ourselves. And the excuse we are getting, we are not still satisfied also with the excuse they are giving us that these people are manufacturing companies, because there is no value added. It's just putting it into bags and just seal the bag and give it and push it out. We don't still agree with the manufacturer. They are not manufacturers. We are all importers. And the Gambia to rely on a vessel is very risky. We have seen it. This past 2 weeks, their vessel was delayed. They went to Senegal to get cement. And people have to sit and wait for weeks to get cement. And it's not fair to people, because people are living from, most people in this agritech field are living from hand to mouth. They are paid daily. Most of these laborers. So all these people have to sit. How are they going to survive?
So like petrol.
Yeah.
You mean this? We depend on vessels. If vessels are delayed, we have to go to Senegal and get it.
But they went to Senegal to get it.
Yeah.
When the vessel was delayed, and we have to look at also what the Gambia economy is losing. These trucks are buying minimum 400 liters to go to Senegal. 400 liters, and on every liter the government is getting at least a minimum of $21.
But Jawo is not complaining about it, and they sell fuel as well. They probably appreciate your trucks buying them.
No. Also, this is something I don't want to dive into, but there's one thing with trucks, their maintenance is very high. So mostly when you're buying fuel, we buy better fuel. Sincerely, we buy better fuel.
No, don't try to.
But I'm not trying to go
that. Don't try to bring it. No. Let's consider.
Yeah, and also looking at the bridge. You buy a ticket and then you go to the weighing spot and they weigh you, then you pay another 2,000, which means when you go in 2,200, when you go in back 2,200. So at Senegal Bridge, for every round trip, we're paying 4,400. So each of these, so there are channels where the government is getting money, not only the tax, but at the bridge, at the fuel.
I see.
So this cement business engages a lot of people. So trying to monopolize the business for the interest of one individual, and it's not a state-owned enterprise. If this is not NAWEC or Gamtel or Gambia Port Authority, so they started like us, and they are all in the same trade like us, and they are all importing like us. So we don't understand, and you are telling us also we are not Gambians. We don't understand. Is there a degree or stages or levels?
See, there is a strong suspicion that government is actually favoring Jawo in many respects.
You see,
there's a strong suspicion and feeling around.
I mean, government has to do those kind of stuff. If people are registered in for me, I hear their argument, but I also feel that your argument to an extent is very flawed, because you also blame it that we are all importers. Government has to balance. If there's two things, government will look at the end of the day, all the different changes. I'm telling you how government will think. I mean, my assumption of how government will think. We'll look at this, compare the two things, and then say, well, this makes better sense. We want to go with this one. So that is also a decision. But to say that we are all importers, it's not just enough.
Yeah, and let me come to that. Our point is,
finally,
we are not trying to keep these people out of business. These people are the ones, because what we realized when we went to on Wednesday for the meeting, We understand even Salam and Gazem are just backup singers. That's what we understand.
Backup singers. They are not the lead singers.
No. They are just backup singers. That's what we because we were
business people.
Yeah. So what we understand is they are just trying to protect the interests of one individual, and that is not helping the nation, because it's our civic right to get access to cement anytime we want, and it's our civic right to be able to invest in our country, and the government should protect our assets and our properties and our lives and everything. So
they are the whalers, they are not the Bob Marley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, for being on the brunch. I think we hear your perspective now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, you have good news today. At least all the trucks at the border can come.
Yeah.
We only hope and pray that you and the government will come to an amicable resolution for the benefit of all. Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the brunch. You can take your leave now. Now, continuing on the press conference by government on that day, we also had the ministers dealt with the issue of land in Kamalo. Kamalo, this land, I think the first thing is we put this land into perspective. What kind of land are they talking about in Kamalo? For me, it is like land, government land allocated for businesses to use either as warehouse or offices or to depots or etc. That's how I see it there, because I have not seen any residents there. So it must be industrial area or so. If the government said they've cancelled, I think over 40 allocations have been made, and a file containing information about that is missing. Some people have been given land twice, when others have got land with incomplete process, like Minister of Local Government not approving it, or things that have been approved or allocated without the minister's approval. So what do you make of all this, Jawo?
Yeah,
What are the
okay, let's
implications?
assume that it's a reserve land. It's a government reserve land in that area. But I think the process of allocating the land to whoever was allocated, I mean, something definitely was faulty there, according to what we've heard from the minister. Something definitely was very, very faulty in the way it was done. You know, probably some people benefited financially from the process without going through the right channels. And the question is, who were the ministers in charge of this?
Because there was no time frame.
Of course, there is no time frame.
No, what I mean, the report did not give between what time and time allocation. So we would have known this was Minister Nangam's time. You know, even though many people suspected, because Minister Abasanya was removed, they said, for things that are, how do they describe that press release?
It was more personal, from a personal ground.
So we would have thought that perhaps it was during his time. But the report, the presidential investigative report, according to the minister's deliberation, did not spell out between what time and what time were these allegations that are affected. So we wouldn't know immediately where. But the general suspicion is...
But it's very likely that, Abasanyan's period was also part of the whole scenario. Because we've seen that during his time in office, they started construction in that area.
And also he was removed.
Well, of course, he was also removed and accused of one thing or the other. We're not sure. Because since Abbas' time, I think we've had 2 other ministers after that, because we had there very briefly.
Those were virtually.
And then we had Babukar Boy, who was overseeing it until Ahmad Baf was appointed formally. So whatever the case, it's definitely
more of it might have to do with the tenure
within a period. And before Abasanyang, it was Musa Drame. So so we can assume that it was within that period anyway, whatever the case. But the allocations were quite faulty in this case. It was quite evident that something.
So this area is. Are you familiar with the place?
Well, of course, Kamalo. When you want past Old Jus and going towards Banjul,
that's
on
the
the right hand
that's the one
side
is affected.
Well, I think right hand side is definitely where construction has commenced. So I don't know. I think that is the area.
So what are the implications? So we're talking about constructions and cement, and those who have built will have to lose it.
Well, of course, if they
There was a time there was an
if they
issue
have
to
not
stop
followed the,
development.
if they have not done it through the right procedure,
Yeah.
then certainly, I mean, if the government decides to
Cancel everything.
cancel everything, nullify the whole process, then they are definitely going to lose. If they had actually gone through the right process, then they can always claim whatever they spent in. But if they had not, they went through the back door, then there is no way that they can be able to claim.
Yeah, but
any
is it
profits
enough
at
to
all.
cancel allocations and not hold anybody responsible for what might have happened?
Well, according to the report, I mean, we've not seen the report in detail, but I mean, I'm sure names have been mentioned. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Names have been mentioned, and people have been, held accountable. Well, should be held accountable for what went wrong. And the very fact that also, I mean, the minister said the file which contains some of the very vital information regarding has disappeared. It means it's an inside work. Somebody within the ministry is also, has been responsible for some of these things. And it's up to the government now to find out who has been responsible for this. But certainly some, corruption has been involved. There is no doubt about that.
The minister said if you are fighting corruption fight. He wanted to include the petition written against him from people of the GTA to justify that it was corruption fighting himself.
Well, let's see.
He himself is involved in a lot of issues during his period as tourism minister around land.
He mentioned that briefly, even though related. But
Yes.
the journalist, might have forgotten to ask, because the reports that came from the petition was an investigation done by the parliamentary subcommittee,
Yes.
which came out with those findings.
Yes.
So those people couldn't have got it wrong.
That's a different set of issues. He cannot conflate matters.
I mean,
but
he he was the one who brought it anyway. They were not related, but he said, if you fight in corruption fights you.
Yeah.
So he wanted to say that those petitions against him were people whom he was fighting against corruption.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah.
what do you make of the land?
I think, Lamin, this is one of the problems. I think, as Uncle Didi was saying, is as clear as it is. There was a faulty process, but for me, I wouldn't just want to stick it to this current event. But it also shows the problem of land governance generally in this country.
Yeah.
And also in terms of how government itself, like the Ministry of Land is responsible basically, in terms of that. But it shows that over the period, how have they been managing not only the problem of land, but also even government reserve land? How has those things been addressed? And for me, what I see right now is government that made a mistake, because you cannot remove. This is the problem. If it emanates from the ministry must take the responsibility. And I was very happy to hear, when he said that we have to swallow the bitter pill. Because of course it's an internal issue. It happened there, and so now they're fixing it. And for me, I think at the end of the day, if they cannot find paper, so it means perhaps no transaction has taken. So it's our land back, so they have to take it back and put it in the right use. And for me, even the area they talk, for me, I've been passing there and all I saw was mangrove. So I started seeing all these fences, and I started wondering, just the environmental side of it. I mean, how can you build on that? So you see that everywhere now, wherever they have like a dry land space, they want to build, and so that is not good. Banjul, before you see all these tall mangroves standing up, but now just you move, you start seeing structures, and those are things that will affect the environment. And this is where women are making money in terms of the oyster. So there's a lot of issues that is going to affect. And for me, I think this decision was right, even though, clearly the issue of corruption was there, and that has to be addressed as well.
And the question people are asking is what has happened to the case against Abasanya? It's taking too long. Nobody's hearing about anything about it. So, it shows you that the government is definitely not quite serious about fighting corruption.
The opposition leader said the other day that he thinks perhaps that case will never see the light in court because sacred cows have been allegedly named in the process. That's what he said. So suggesting there might be people whom the government want to protect.
They say they want to share the report.
Anyway.
For me, you see, the other thing is like sharing the report. People will know.
And sharing the report, yes.
Because that's, I think,
I'm going to be sanitized report. The actual report, I can assure you they are not going to share.
That is exactly the next thing that the government should do, to have it widely publicized. And that should be done. Well, there should be no confidentiality.
Yeah.
What do you make of it, the Kamalo land?
Well, there are so many things to take in from about this Kamalo land issue. The first point is that this is located on the Tanbi wetlands, according to their doctored report that they shared with the media. They have not, government has not shared the full report. Anybody with some semblance of ability to read this document, which is on my phone right here, knows that this is not the full report. We've seen AKI report, we've seen proper presidential reports, something which is a serious document. In here, it says that this Tanbi is a Ramsar site since 2001, protected. He highlights it's a sign of how we manage our land. Not too long ago, earlier in this year, we had similar issues with the park, Bijilo Park.
Yeah.
Right?
So-called monkey park.
So-called monkey park. You see, and many other issues. So we've seen what has happened with the pushback. The environmentalists will come up and make noise. Perhaps this one, maybe because it's a little bit,
isolated from the people.
The environmentalists didn't jump onto this.
Oh, maybe it was not central. It was not strategically awareness. Or maybe it's not strategically.
It only became visible when you start seeing the structure.
You start exactly.
I see.
Like because if things that are done under, if it was transparent, it will be announced that we want to sell Kamalo, so people come and apply and take the land. But it wasn't done that way. So it's only when the structure started coming. That's when people realize that this thing is going on.
Okay.
So as you continue reading this, even from this small that they have shared us, you can see that the inconsistencies in the report. Why? It says no evidence of environmental impact assessment was done.
Yeah, the minister said that.
And then that the minister made approval. It did not say director of planning or whatever there. It says minister's approval without following due process. And it lists numerous processes which have not been done. But when you come to the recommendations, it jumps. The minister is jumped. And it starts talking about the director of planning, etc., etc. He should be reprimanded. It's stated in here.
Oh, at least they have said. At least this is what the minister
This is
said.
what they but
that's shared now then.
No. They shared what I told you is a doctored document.
I think this is not comprehensive.
This is clearly not the full report.
Names.
There are more names. I have information that is not the full report and that there are more names that are listed. And the inconsistency is what I'm highlighting to you.
Oh, I see.
You highlight one of your first things is that the minister, not anybody that is in the report, in the document here, that the minister approved these lands without, there are some lands because there are many categories. The whole thing is very complicated.
And he did not mention the minister in that case.
And then in the recommendations, you go straight to the director of planning.
No, but they were findings. So what you are talking about, the minister not approving, those were some of the findings that they find. The lack of environmental, that was also a finding. So this is like the task force. For me, just those points, like the lack of environment as a finding, that was a strong finding. I mean, the second one that the minister signing without approval, that was also another strong finding. And
Is
also
it
you have the
minister signing approval or approval, rather, allocation made without minister's approval?
Allocation without evidence of minister's approval. So there are many categories. That's why I was trying to highlight to you that there are many categories. There are some lands that were minister's approval without following due process. That's one category.
I see.
So the minister approved without the environmental impact assessment and other issues. Section 14. I don't want to go into the details too much.
But why do you think?
And then there's another category: allocation without evidence of minister's approval. There are some that the minister did not even approve. So that is the one that they are landing on the
directors.
Yeah, because he did not have approval from the minister.
I see.
So now, can you see where I'm coming from? So they jumped. So if they followed the sequence of the recommendations or not the recommendations, but the findings in the report, the first one is minister's approval without following due process. What are they recommending on that? They jump that in the recommendation. They go straight into the next category, which I'm talking about. That is approval without the minister's
allocation without
the minister's approval. And that one, obviously, the deputy, the director of planning, he is the one who is going to face the brunt here. I think he's been sacrificed, just like in the fisheries issue. Yeah, what you get is the sacred cows are protected here. We are calling on Ahmad Ba
the recommendations against the minister.
Produce the full report.
Against the minister is not there.
It's not.
But the recommendations for me were
the
more
full
generic.
report.
The recommendations were more generic.
Let Ahmad Ba produce the full report. Then you will be able to.
I agree.
We will not be.
So
able
you feel that there is more to this report than the one given?
There is more. They need to give us that.
Okay, so the government should come out with the full report of the task force, the presidential task force, and giving us names and officials involved.
Thank you.
For example, I can see there was no even mention of a minister.
Yeah, well, they mentioned the minister, but they didn't indicate which
minister and the time frame.
You see,
because they would have told us. They would have told us who was it.
I hear
that must be part of the report.
At least in the case of GSM, he mentioned Jawo was in office at the time.
and the AKI, let's just give it to similarities. The AKI task force report, it highlights names. It tells you Mr. X was the passing chemist for working in MCA as a regulatory officer. At the same time, he was working for a pharmacy, and the pharmacy he was working for, the name of the pharmacy. You understand?
So
all these things are things which need to be clearly brought forward by the minister. The Minister of Lands cannot give us that doctored document and then expect us, the media, will take that, swallow it, and now just start spreading it for the campaign.
Well, there's no doubt that certain names are involved which they don't want highlighted.
I don't see the essence of you're talking. You already say it's a bitter pill that you have to swallow. You already know that it's a problem. You already highlighted it. You created a task force. You are trying to do what is right. When you are doing what is right, why do you limit? The thing that you're supposed to do. But I also think in terms of the recommendation, for me, I think, given this setup, I agree, honestly, that there needs to be a full report, so that everybody can see it. But the context also, I don't see anything that is wrong in terms of what is provided, especially when it comes to the recommendation. And this recommendation, if you study the land problem in this country, whether there was a conflict development analysis that was done by ONEP and others, they highlighted the issue of land and how it is becoming more problematic in the country. And I think one of the recommendations, which I strongly agree, is the need to come up with a national policy. Because at the ministry now, those are the structural problems that I keep talking about in this country. There are so many structural problems that at the end of the day, we are just following on the individual accountability. Because today, if there is no policy, there is no guidelines at the lands, and the director of planning is given this whole freedom to do whatever he wants with the land, nothing to guide him. At some point, the individual issues will come in. And, there will be nobody to monitor, nothing to do. How can you say, well, you have to be held accountable because this was the direction that you were supposed to take? But that is absent. And now, how are you going to focus on those aspects? For me now, I think with this whole government land, there needs to be that policy. Clearly stated, well understood, so that people will know, the process of getting land and the transparency that is also there. And I also like the aspect of digitalization that they talked about. Because today, even if you can get your land, you go there, you don't even know, they cannot find the paper.
But I have been long in Brikama, in West Coast area. So when you are paying, at least there's a little development in that. When you are paying, you just give your name, and they see.
Yeah, because now that has to be that has to be the way forward. But we haven't done all this different stuff. Now all we will see will be problems, and in every area, with the Aki, with many places, this is where you find it. And I think that for us as a country, those are things that we need to look at. What is missing, we fix those things and we stop, the unnecessary, ping pong here. But look at that, this is a structural problem that we need to address. For me, I think at the end of the day, that's what has to be done.
Well, finally, the minister talk about GSM companies being given TV and radio license. He accused Jawo of ignoring government recommendation. And went and issued to Q Group. Jawa gave a fitting reply that one, in fact, it was a cabinet decision that he implemented. And in fact, the process went through the regulators. All of them said this company have met the criteria, and he cannot stop that process. And also, in fact, the name used for in applying the license was Co Multimedia. Something and not Q, even though even though it was Q people behind them. So he said the minister was wrong. And he said the minister perhaps insinuating that he might have benefited from those licenses. And ironically, the license of QTV made it possible for his own press conference to be covered live on QTV. So Jawo said that ironically the minister is benefiting from the license that he said. But what really baffled me was that is it possible in the running of government for any minister to go and arbitrarily do something that cabinet did not agree to?
Now, well, I think Ahmad, we all know Ahmad is a loose cannon. He can say anything at any time. He doesn't care about the consequences, what he says. But, the process of issuing out a license, the minister comes at the very tail end of it. It is Pura which is responsible for doing the application.
So just like the land minister in this case.
And Pura is not under the Ministry of Information. It is under the Ministry of Finance. That's why they put Pura completely separate from, so that they don't connive and do what is not. So applications are sent to Pura. Pura does the due diligence, make recommendations to the minister for approval of the license. So the minister comes at the very tail end of it. These are the technicians. They don't if they think that somebody deserves to be given this, who is the minister to say no, you cannot give them this thing? I think it was very unfair. In the first place, according to the National Information and Communication Act, the Minister of Information does not even need to go to cabinet for such, if such an issue arises. Of course, the matter was taken to cabinet. But again, I expected Ahmad Ba, because he goes on saying that, bragging that he is the only one in the original cabinet which is still left in
Yes, that's what he said. And that's true. He's the only surviving member of the Barrow cabinet.
At least he's a senior member of the cabinet. We don't expect him to be coming around and saying this is what cabinet said and this is what. That is definitely completely out of place. For a cabinet minister to be disclosing whatever cabinet decisions were made. I think he was wrong in that. Probably, I expect President Barrow and his government to call him to attention. Whatever the case. But again,
he said Barrow didn't want him to say those things. So he made it clear that maybe Barrow didn't approve him saying it. But he said he's going to say it.
It was wrong. Again, the application for the license for QTV and Q Radio were actually not made by QCell, which was, as far as Pura were concerned, it was not a GSM company that made the application. It was a separate,
separate company
which was registered and everything. Is a
so is it proper? Is it proper for them to turn and call it QTV?
Well, it's a Q group. Q group. There are different. They have banks.
So they have a holding company called Q Group.
Yeah,
and then they have
exactly
all the outlets.
Different outlets.
But if they use a name like Multimedia Co, and you gave them that license, and they operate now with a new them. Aren't there any provision to call them to action?
It is a Q group. The group comprises of, maybe a media company, a bank, a motor company, and a lot of other things. So, this multimedia thing, whatever the name was called, multimedia or
still
whatever,
broadcasting.
It's still part of the Q group. So if they want, they can call anything. Even their caps, they can call it Q cap if they want to. It doesn't matter. The name doesn't matter here.
But you agree. You tend to agree with Honorable Ba that
of course it would not be ideal to give a GSM company broadcasting license also. But the thing is, here, according to Pura, this was not the broadcasting. it was not the GSM company. The GSM company was called QCell.
But you didn't know at the time that this QCell people behind it. So likely they are looking for.
No, it's not QCell. Q Group and QCell are different. QCell is just a company.
Okay. You didn't know at the time that it was Q Group people who are actually looking for.
Of course, I knew that it was Q Group. Group. But it's not QCell. QCell is the GSM company.
No, I'm talking about is Q. They call it now QTV.
Yes.
But the company the company name they projected to you was Multimedia.
And I knew it was part of the Q
and
group.
The license was given in that name.
And I knew it was part of the Q group. So but it's not QCell. It is not a GSM company. Yes. And again, already a precedent has been created already. Yes. A GSM company which is operating in this country had been issued a license.
Yeah, that's
for
a radio.
for a radio.
Yeah.
So if even if QCL had applied for a radio license,
they would still have got it because
I mean, well, I'm not sure what Pira would have made the decision. Anyway, they would have made recommendations to the minister. But even if QCL had applied for a radio license, I mean, a precedent had already been created.
But in any case, a company that met the criteria of Pura, who applied and met the criteria of Pura, was recommended for you to give a license. Absolutely. And you give them whatever name they call themselves.
And that was not the only license I signed. I mean, I signed the license for Ahmadiyya. I had a lot of problem with so
you are the one who gave Ahmadiyya's license.
And I signed the license for all the houses.
Another controversy.
So you see, I mean,
okay.
I think he was not fair. I mean, probably. But the thing is, I know he had an agenda.
Really?
If you listen to him, what he first did was, I mean, he promised the media that he was going to give them land and all that.
We are going to talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. So he had to say that first to please the media, and then I mean, the objective
and to incite them against you.
Exactly. The objective was to pit me against the media. That was it. Because in fact, if you listen to him, he said he's a big critic of the government. So he was setting the scene.
He said you didn't do much. You didn't do much for the media. Even though you are now criticized when you
I'm sure. I mean, we all know that he has not succeeded in whatever scheme he had. But that I'm absolutely no doubt that was his objective.
He said now he's going to give headquarters to.
But let's also remember, he also talked about Data Haidara just in that same sequence before, which I felt was really
No, he was
not
setting
done.
the scene for what he was doing.
So it was a very calculated manner in which he first came.
I refuse to make this.
Listen to it very well.
I refuse to make this a personal thing about him, but I want to do it more of what he said.
Yes,
and the implication of that, not about him. We all know his style.
No, but that's what I'm saying. These are things he said.
Yeah.
So him talking about Data, and then talking.
No, he said in the context was that he told Data that there are joined lists.
Yes,
and
so that's demeaning the media. That's also not. And then
you know why I said I want this to be more of what he said than what he represents, because everybody knows him. So let's try to focus on what he said and not what I know him. You know, he did a very good job when he was a minister, when he was an opposition parliamentarian under Jammeh. He was one of the most effective opposition parliamentarian. And towards even the media, he helped fight for the cause of the media very well, extremely well. But then, of course, that was opposition. The problem with politicians is when they come to power,
you get to see,
and the table turn. When they are in the opposition, they think that the journalists are doing their job. For example, today, all these questions we are asking the people of the UDP, the GDC, and these are the questions. Good job. But once they come to power, they will be even more problematic. So that is
not
how
in my name.
That is how I see people like Ahmad Ban. I mean, I covered the first ever rally, that Ahmad ever had in August 1996. I covered it in Gunjur. The launching of the NRP. I covered it. I was the first journalist to bring anything Ahmad first said in his political platform in the Observer.
You know, for me,
so I know him, and he went to do a very good job when he won the 1997 parliamentary elections. A very good job. So what I can't understand is that now you see, those who fought for media freedom are now the ones who have been subjected to unfair treatment by the media. I heard him say all these things. But I take it as it is him who changed the table. We are always on this side of the table.
Yes.
And when they turn now and become the power, that's where you go. But we accept. Don't worry about it. So let's talk about what he said and not what he represents.
For me, I think, I always say that here in this country, a politician is a politician, and he must do his job as a politician.
Exactly.
You as a journalist must do your job as a journalist. Exactly. Me as civil society will do it. And if we all do it in a way that we are not here to please each other, that we are doing it for our country, then this country would move.
Absolutely.
And for me, when I watched that the entire episode, but I was wondering what that episode, when we was talking, what he's the Minister of Land. Why does he need to give us all this preamble and all those different conversations? For me, that's what I couldn't understand. Because then you are blaming somebody for the reason why, because the question, for me, it's not about, what Uncle D has done or not. For him, the question then that I listened to was that the media is not making money today, and this was the reason why the media is not making money.
Yeah, he said part of the problem.
Part of the problem of the media. And so for me,
Yeah.
then that is the question that we need to focus on. Yeah. Why is the media not making money today?
Yeah.
And today, if he realized that they made a mistake, that's why I was saying in the beginning that government must always be able to fix its problem.
Yeah.
Today, if they realize that the media is not making money because these companies are doing everything for themselves, then therefore they need to fix that. This is their fault. They are the ones in government. They need to fix the problem.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the first thing that I have to say. Yeah. And secondly, at some point you also look at. I read somebody talking about. It's not only about the media, but also about the artists, the intellectual property rights. Those are issues that also he was responsible for. So is it the Minister of Information that is responsible for the media to make money? Or it has to go to other institutions in terms of, who is responsible for regulating copyrights or, those elements. I don't think it's the Minister of Information.
It's Minister of Tourism.
Yeah. So there are those elements. And for me, what I also saw is that, I saw, that cabinet. He talked about cabinet, what was done in cabinet. For me, cabinet, whether it was his decision or not, as long as it's cabinet decision, everybody was responsible.
Exactly.
So it's collective, just like the National Assembly.
Yeah.
Whether they reject a bill or whether you vote or vote, it's the National Assembly that rejects it. So it's the National Assembly. Yeah. So you cannot come out and then start picking, one person.
I didn't to pick out single out somebody who was.
But that was for me. I analyze politician. That was politics. Yeah. He was doing politics in that angle, and that's why he mentioned biggest critic.
Yes.
But if you do your job, you do it, people will see it, people will recognize it. If you criticize, people will criticize you as well.
Absolutely.
And so if you are given responsibility, your responsibility is to deliver. Yeah. It's not to look at, even if you deliver, if you are to...
in fact, if you have a mandate, I've always said, you see, it is the government that owes people explanation. You see, that what they are doing now is very good.
It is what it's supposed to be.
These press conferences are very good.
Yeah.
Because it is the government that owes people explanation. When you do a decision and sit down, until people heard it in the rumors and come and ask you, or people misinterpreted it and you said you want to clarify, when you had the opportunity to even tell the people in the first place, I'm going to do this. Yeah. Then no question, people would have understood you. So these press conferences are very good.
My observation in this country, you see, in this country, my observation is this. People, when government come and say, well, this is what we want to do, this is the news, people will just take it and go. Exactly. But if government want to hide something, you want to do certain things, that one they will not give.
They will not give information.
Because they feel like, they have been cheated, then the question is like the issue of trust. Yeah. But if you come clearly and, state the fact as
exactly.
it is, for me,
and leave the people to
interpret. You said you are representing the people. Yeah. You have been paid through the people's taxpayers, the taxes that people are paid. Why do you have to be scared of the people?
Exactly.
Yeah. For me, that's the point that I don't understand. Like you said, we are on this side.
We are on the other side.
I think Ismail Assise is. He's doing very well.
Yeah, these press conferences are very good. Yeah,
I think it's good.
Well, I think he's doing what the mandate of the government.
The information aspect of the the communication side of the government was a bit lax.
Yeah, that's right.
With him, if he continues this, definitely it's
these are very good engagements because it's the government that owes people explanation, not the other way around.
They have to be on the offensive.
On the offensive, yes. You are when you are.
But right now, you see, nobody, like he's saying, nobody say organize Mansakunda, but they're coming there. Come in and then present it.
And
so if you're coming there, also come and discuss government business.
Exactly.
Don't come and do politics.
Personal,
it's not a political rally as well.
No.
So
not a political rally. Go straight to the issues
and
don't pick quarrels with. Well, I think Taylor, you two had your personal quarrel. There. What he said, not about Hamad. Yeah. What do you agree with? What he disagree with? What he said?
Well, with regards to,
I think he said there are. Join the list and you were he said he listened to you.
Yeah, so you see, I think the whole thing, Hamad was setting a scene. He had a very long charade, and I was there at the press conference. How much?
He wants to be Donald Trump now, picking people.
Yeah, no, not
picking
only
quarrels with journalists.
Ahmad attacked the Jawo. We talked about that one.
Okay.
He attacked the lawyers. He said that the lawyers
he said they are the
one
land grabbers.
of the biggest land grabbers.
He didn't spare anybody.
The land agents, he also went for them. He said that he is bringing a resolution to deal with them. That they are
real estate company.
Real estate.
Yes.
Yes. So, me too. Ahmad had my own fair share as well for me. So, but like, we take it on the chin. At the beginning, I mean, this is Ahmad. At the beginning, he said he would answer, he is ready to answer as many questions as possible. Then towards the end, he said, oh no, I have an appointment. I have social, responsibilities. My wife is traveling, my sister, blah, blah,
There's
blah.
a typical Ahmad Ba.
Ahmad Ba for you. So at the beginning, he said one thing, and then at the end, he said another. But we kept him there,
I know. But the fact that he has come out, is very impressive. Very impressive.
We kept him there.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, in that context, I mean, you set the scene, but I think we need to be very careful about something. Ahmad is also setting the scene that he is fighting corruption and corruption is fighting him back, which is a method or a mechanism to protect himself from, clearly, the things which he mentioned. In the press conference, he mentioned it.
Yeah, he
about
brought
the issue of the parliamentary
GT board petition.
The GT, that they are sponsoring people to come and
that's right.
petition against him.
He said that.
I think he should.
I mean, people have the right to petition anyone.
Exactly.
So that should not be.
You
And
prove
that's
yourself
not
on that.
unrelated. Okay.
That was not even on the
that was not related, but
Thank you.
he wanted, like you said.
Yes. His sympathy.
To prepare people that, well, I had wanted to fight corruption. Corruption fought me. So whatever had been done against me was just, it was just a response from people I wanted to deal with. Politicians are.
For me, those things, like they can come and do something, they complain. But what do we have to do? We have to do it.
Exactly.
Whether they like it or not, we have to do what we have to do.
So I think the press conferences are very good, but they should bring more substance, and less personal attacks.
Bring the actual
politics.
Bring the actual report.
Yeah,
that's very, very important.
Yeah.
And then I think Ahmad should also listen to questions. So, and I want to also say this. I think it's very important. When we went to the press conference, at the beginning, obviously, journalists were there and they were waiting to start. So Ahmad took some while to come. They were waiting for Ahmad and they couldn't wait and then they started. So, but also journalists were sat and then some ministry officials came and took the seats of where the journalists are. And even in my image, you can see that we didn't able to capture some images very well.
People were sitting arranged.
Yes, people were standing in front. So I think the
Sitting
press conferences, they need to be done in a very conducive manner, so that we can be able to, do our job. There are some of these. I agree. Let them come with some of these people, so that if they want to ask because of their benefit, I really see the benefit there. For example, I asked a question about Neddy, and the Neddy man was there.
No,
and they able to give specific and corroborate and verify what the minister was saying. He actually had said a lesser number, and then when they clarified, it was 29, and that was one of my most important articles. So that's good, but you don't need to bring the whole people and then overcrowd the journalists, so that the journalists are like,
the journalists have a separate sitting place.
They should be, and that is the most important aspect of it.
Thank you very much.
But in the case of Ahmad, definitely, I mean, that he doesn't follow protocol in any way. I mean, if you are familiar with the Senegalese situation, it's just like Elaji Diouf, Elaji Diouf,
Elaji Diouf, the lawyer.
Yeah, the lawyer. I mean, that's exactly how Ahmad is. Ask him this, he will start talking about something else, and he wouldn't even give you the chance. He wouldn't even give you the chance to elaborate.
He did that.
The president said he is a minister, Bokul Fasa.
That
said it all. All right, gentlemen, thank you very well. There's one more thing, a small matter of our match against Seychelles Islands in the World Cup qualifiers. We want to win because we have a new coach.
Oh, yes.
And we lost 2 of our World Cup qualifiers. We are going for the 3rd one. And we have a new coach. We have every reason now to start winning.
But I think we're going to win Seychelles. I mean, Seychelles is not associated with football, definitely.
Exactly.
So I cannot say
but in football,
anything is possible, because Comoros has made it to the
But in a few days' time, we're going to Gabon.
Oh yes, they're gonna be interesting.
On
Well,
the
I mean,
11th.
wishing the boys all the best, and
Yeah.
Usainu Gambia to
Yeah.
continue, pushing.
We wish the new era.
And they should speed up the stadium so that we can be playing at home.
The minister said in August.
No,
It's September,
it's
August.
July.
It's
End of
July.
July.
Oh, now it's July.
July, yes.
There will be an evaluation at the end of July.
Well, he said that
He want to-
they
he want to
anticipate
set
that they
July.
will conclude the construction by end of July. And it's gonna cost us $283
Total.
million.
Yeah.
From what has
But
been done and what's
the
going to be
first
done.
amount of money was actually wasted.
Yeah, that's right.
You
That's
didn't see
where
my
the problem-
publication.
No,
I'm the one who
that's
asked
true.
him the
No, that's
question.
true. What happened
I'm
was-
the one who asked him the
what
question.
happened-
at the
what
press
happened was-
conference.
The first amount.
What happened was, if
153
due
first.
diligence and CAF's requirements were done within the first allotment of 153 million, we probably wouldn't have been left with this huge budget in the first. And that's what everybody should accept.
They went ahead and did their own
Yeah,
thing.
that's
without
right.
getting-
No, you see, this is the problem that I have
Yeah,
in this
that-
country.
yeah.
You see, you have been told that you did not meet this.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to follow it letter by letter.
Absolutely.
No, there was a problem because I think there wasn't that much cooperation between the Gambia Football Federation and the ministry.
Unless-
See, the contracts were all conceived and, even awarded by the ministry, by the government to the ministry with very little consultation or maybe authority to the GFF. Even though there's a linkage because the stadium manager is also a member of the GFF executive. That's where the problem is.
Yes.
And, this job started and only for CAF to come and said, well, of course, you have you are far short of this criteria and this criteria. So you see.
So you go to the drawing board and then you
that's
spend
right.
another money.
So if that money had actually been
But Lami, the
spent
problem
with the right guidelines, we wouldn't have been left with this.
And this is what I keep saying. It's not only you are
there's-
talking only
there's a-
about sports,
Yeah.
but in many other instances, you see like
Yeah.
like some companies go and buy stuff. You think
Only
like
for
it's-
them. Like it happened with the ferries on the Jamma, isn't it? Didn't they buy ferries?
Those two new
Yeah, the ferries,
So
they could not land here.
that had only one entrance.
One entrance.
Yeah,
What
but
happened?
at the end of
Yeah, that's it. It's set up. Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yusuf Taylor, editor of the Gainako, Sait Matty, and Demba Ali Jawo. And before, at the beginning we had Sheikh Cham of the Cement Importers Association. Thank you all for being on the brunch. We'll be back next week with more brunch. Until then, goodbye.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kono kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ma fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.